Welcome back to another episode of the Higher Ed Podcast. I'm your host, Kamar DJ Arnett, flying solo today. Got a great guest with us, the charismatic Clay Christensen. Thanks for joining us, my friend. We're
Thank
really
you.
glad to have you. If you could, maybe just start by, introducing yourself. Maybe give us a little bit of your origin story.
Yes, I'd be happy to. Thanks for the opportunity to be with you today. Always passionate to talk about technical education, so I look forward to this opportunity.
Absolutely.
Yes, Clay Christensen. I have been involved in public and higher ed I just finished 43 years. Been the president at Mountland Technical College. I'm just starting my 20th year as the president.
Nice.
I taught in high school, taught in the high school classroom. Worked for the Utah State Office of Education as a program specialist for several years. Came back to Alpine School District and worked in administration there prior to joining Mountland Technical College. My children all came through M-Tech before I was employed here, and I saw what it did, how it changed their lives and helped them develop careers that have served them very well. And welcome the opportunity to be involved because I'm passionate about what we do.
Absolutely. So when did you first fall in love with higher ed and maybe more specifically technical education?
Technical education started back when I was in high school. I took every shop class that I could take,
Sure.
welding and automotive and agriculture, and uh, so that really sparked an interest. I was involved with the FFA and served as the state FFA president, and then went on and was involved and received my bachelor's degree in agriculture education with a minor in biology, and completed a master's and administrative certificate in technical education. So it started for me about at the age of 16. So this is going on 50 some odd years that I've been
Wow.
involved with it. Been passionate about it in the high school. Worked a lot with Mountland Technical College, was a fledgling institution at the time that started out as a division of what is now Utah Valley University, was the trade tech at the time.
Sure.
And the trade tech started out after World War II with the need for vocational training. It's been exciting to see what's happened with certification and the interest in industry certification, and not just as that as a terminal opportunity, but part of being a lifelong learner. That we feel strongly that it makes our graduates much better employees, whether it's associate degree, bachelor's degree, graduate degrees, that if they have that involvement in industry, whether it's healthcare or IT or the trades or apprenticeship, whatever the case might be, that makes them a more valuable employee.
Sure. Absolutely. So when you think about technical education, um, I'm thinking that you kind of think there's a difference between technical education and just overall higher education. If so, how do you view that? How do you think about that?
Um, I look at the opportunities for our students, and it shouldn't be we shouldn't be posing the question to our students that you can either be involved at a technical college or you can go into degree granting
Right.
institution. That we should talk about, and that
Okay.
you can do a technical college experience and you can do a higher education degree granting institution experience. And we have worked diligently within the state of Utah, and more specifically here at M-Tech, to ensure that if you take an off-ramp with a certificate, we want those opportunities available so that there's on-ramps for you to re-enter and continue that lifelong learning, whether it's in a more formalized, structured setting at an institution, whether it's professional development opportunities or on-the-job training or a registered apprenticeship program, that it all helps to make the whole individual and a dynamic member of the community. That we don't just cubbyhole people in one slot or the other. And the opportunities that are now available, I watched that in public education, even when we built our educational institutions in the high schools and the junior highs. Where did we put the
Sure.
shops? The shops were out back. Now, I'm not talking about just shops either, because technical education encompasses our healthcare providers, IT, the service trades, apprenticeship. And so it's a real broad spectrum. And when we look at STEM education overall and the opportunities that our students now have, it is a viable option, and it is a viable opportunity that can be stacked in a pathway with a degree granting institution to help make people more employable, to make them better employees,
Sure.
to help business and industry within the community. And so it's part of that big picture.
Absolutely. So how would you say, from when you first fell in love with technical education to, and I know this is a kind of a heavy question to unpack, to now, what has been innovations, kind of evolutions, to technical education from your perspective?
I'll share just a few examples of what we've done here at MTech. One of the things I love about our system, our accrediting agency is the Council on Occupational Education based out of Atlanta, Georgia. And there's three main criteria that all of our programs and institutions have to meet, and that's completion, placement, and licensure. We want our students to complete the program. We want them to earn that license, that industry license, and then we want them to find viable employment, which could include or be focused on continuing education to an associate degree or a baccalaureate degree. But if we don't maintain those by programs, that program's triggered for a period of time, generally 9 to 12 months. And if it's not brought back up to exceed the national standards for completion, placement, licensure, that program, we either have to eliminate that program or we lose our accreditation as an institution. So one of the
Mm.
things that we have done within our technical college system, we have advisory committees for. Here at MTech, we have 38 different programs. And we have advisory committees for each of those programs. About 573 individuals serve in that capacity. And what they do is they ensure that we have programs that are training for a livable wage. We don't train for minimum wage
Mm.
jobs or skill sets. They ensure that there is job availability out in the market. They ensure that the curriculum is meeting the needs of business and industry, and that there's opportunities for students where they work. And so we bring those advisory committees together, and they dictate what's going to happen within the curriculum and within the program. And uh, as a result, it has developed an opportunity for us to have strong business partnerships. For example, that's everything from equipment donations. We take great pride in having state-of-the-art equipment and laboratory facilities within the technical college. A good share of that comes about from partnerships with our business and industry partners. They also sponsor scholarships, and of course, they provide direction as to what is covered there. And within a technical college system, somewhat of the higher ed bureaucracy can be put to the side, because if an advisory committee member, a business owner, or
Sure.
manager, if they make a recommendation on a Wednesday evening for advisory committee, we that doesn't have to go through a curriculum review standard. That is direction that we need and take great put great emphasis on. We can make that change the next day and begin adjusting that so that we're training for the workforce. Some of the other innovative things that we've done is we do employee sharing with several of our business partners. So,
Okay.
for example, we have a radiology technician program. That's a stacked credential with a pathway to UVU, and who is our regional partner, but Utah State University and Weber State and the other degree granting institutions. And we hire radiology technicians that work for Intermountain Health or Revere or one of the other local healthcare providers. And they're
Sure.
still working in business and industry. They come and teach for us. And as part of that, they're bringing real world experience every day into that classroom.
Right.
Our goal, because this structure is a little different when I served in public ed, we hired graduates right out of the university to come and teach. They had great educational pedagogy, teaching skills. They'd been through methods, they'd been through student teaching, but they didn't have the industry experience. Our
Mm.
system is just opposite of that. We hire industry certified professionals, for example, in the automotive area. They're ASE, NATEF certified individuals, but they aren't always master teachers. And so we have a very extensive, what we call our Office of Teaching and Learning, and we put all of our employees through ongoing professional development. They go through a mini student teaching experience. They go through methods and psychology and
Sure.
all of the things that you would experience if you're going in a pre-service education program, so that our students are getting the best of both worlds. They're getting master teachers, they're getting experts out of business and industry. So that's an example of some of the things. I could go into some specifics of some of the business partnerships that we have, but they're very dynamic, which result in hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars that come into the college on an annual basis.
Absolutely. So overall, from a society standpoint, do you believe or do you notice that there's been a shift towards technical education? Like it's being perceived kind of more positively in this day and age?
Great question. 40 plus years ago when I started in technical ed, that was an opportunity for someone else's child. My child was not going to be involved in that. There were a lot of dingy, dirty working conditions that were involved with many of the occupations, and that has changed so much over the last while. Here, our main campus is based in Utah Valley, so we're south of Salt Lake, about 30 miles.
Sure.
And there used to be we like to use this as an analogy. There was a steel manufacturer, Geneva Steel, that was located here in the industry. And we refer to that as the Geneva Steel syndrome, that we have a responsibility and an ongoing commitment to educate the parents and the students about the opportunities and the working conditions. It's not like it was in those foundries and smelters and the dirty working conditions. These are high tech, high paying wages, many times industry certification. Those graduates can be making more than their counterparts that have graduated with a bachelor's degree. It's just been a shift in the change of society. But we still have a responsibility to teach those general ed skill sets. For example, in our machining program, by the time those students are finished with that program, they've learned trigonometry principles. If we told them that going in, many of them wouldn't even venture or try to take that. But they have, on top of that, they have math training that's done. We try to make them the whole employee so that they have those critical thinking skills. So general education skills that they would have learned. We incorporate that into the curriculum so that we're training a student that has a skill set and a culture and is able to step right into great paying jobs.
Absolutely. So, and I think, part of this shift happened around COVID, right? People were taking classes remote, and it almost is like the entire world kind of had a gasp and said, let's recalibrate the value of higher ed. And, now, when I talk to so many, scholars and educators, they're saying, Kamar, we feel like we almost have to prove the value of education to the consumer, to the student. Are you seeing that? And if so, do you feel like that's a little bit easier in technical education than it might be in what people may call traditional education? Is that fair?
And it is. And please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to advocate for one over the other,
Right.
because there are jobs that require bachelor's degrees and graduate degrees and doctorate degrees. As we look at those ratios, oftentimes that analogy is used for every graduate degree position. There are two baccalaureate degrees positions that need to support that, but that there's 7 technician positions that support that out of that, if you
Right.
took a sample percentage wise. And so that's very important. It's been an ongoing education process. Years ago when I first started working here at Mountainland, go throughout the community and people had no clue what we were or what we were about. And now we see our students doing clinical experiences. They're in the pharmacies, they're in the hospitals, they're in the automotive dealerships there. And so it has been an awareness campaign, and we've worked diligently in our communications. Uh, we have a unique challenge here in our region. We're the largest technical college in the state of Utah. And the Utah
Oh, wow.
legislature, by the way, has been phenomenal to support the technical college system in the state of Utah. We have 8 traditional technical colleges. We have 3 degree granting institutions that perform technical college type services. So total of 11 in all. The facilities you'll see in the state of Utah over the past 20 years, every region has great opportunities that are available. And we're allowed to regionalize as well. So we're training for jobs that are specific to our region. Yes, we have students that venture outside those boundaries, obviously, and outside the state even, but we focus on our business partners that are here. So, yeah, that has been a great ongoing effort that we've done with the pathways that are available. For example, right now, with many of those 38 programs, we have 28 programs that have pathways, stackable credentials to Utah Valley University. If they come and get our industry certification here at the technical college, because we are a credit granting institution as well, that can earn them up to 30 credits towards their associate degree if they go to UVU or one of the other degree granting institutions.
Oh,
Now, one
wow.
other piece that I'll add on top of that is 2 of the things that the legislature, back when they originated the technical college system, that they charged each of us to do. We have a low tuition rate for adults. We have no tuition for a high school student. If you come as a secondary student, you have to pay fees for the program, but you do not pay tuition. Now, stop and think about that as an opportunity for our children or siblings or whatever the case might be within the community. That can be every bit as valuable, in many cases, much more than AP courses, concurrent enrollment, because you've done that tuition free. Now, on
Wow.
top of that, with the adult population that we have here, last year we graduated over 2,700 students last year. We have about 6,500 students annually that go through the
Nice.
program. Competency-based education. 99.7% of those graduates last year graduated debt-free. So they take
Wow.
that certificate, they go to work, they're not encumbered by educational debt. Now, how have we accomplished that? We've done that through Pell Grants. We have many of our programs that are eligible for Pell Grants, partnership with business and industry for programmatic specific scholarships. Um, and because the tuition is so low, students aren't having to take out loans in order to come have the training here. But just because the tuition is low, that does not impact the quality. It's a quality experience that they get, and that's what we focus upon.
Wow. So, and you've talked about this a lot. How important is that relationship with the community to help you guys deliver, what you want to, deliver, government, employers, just how important is that relationship?
Oh, it's crucial, and we work on that. Um, yeah, it's one of our main areas of focus. We're very actively involved with Chamber of Commerce's throughout our region. We've strategically made sure that members of our staff and our team are involved with the chambers. We work closely with the government groups. For example, the Division of Workforce Services. We don't look at starting new programs or expanding sections without getting data and input from DWS so that we're headed down the right pathway. Our business partners, it's crucial. And we've really made leaps and bounds over the last 15 to 20 years on our business partnerships. And it's not just us taking from business and employers. We, by serving on advisory committees, by sponsoring scholarships, that gets them involved with our graduates. If they're doing a clinical experience or an apprenticeship, we have to have those sites. Oftentimes in healthcare, our limiting factor isn't capacity within the buildings or facilities. It's the number of clinical sites that we have out with business and industry. So
Right.
for us to expand on a program, and business and industry has seen that. In order for them to get more employees, there has to be more clinical experiences that are available or helping with scholarshiping. And so it's a win-win. We're helping solve the problem that they have of the necessary workforce that they need to produce their product or healthcare or whatever the case might be. And so it's important that we're involved in the community. We're involved with United Way. We do a lot of service programs. Our dental assisting program, they do teeth cleaning at no charge and bring in dentists to help with some of the underprivileged population that we're dealing with. We do blood drives. we're actively involved with United Way. We're doing the Day of Caring tomorrow, in fact, that our employees during the workday will be going out and working within the communities, at some schools and other public entities. And so it's vital, it's crucial. That business industry partnership is essential to have a successful technical college.
Absolutely. And like you said, you're definitely not just taking, right? You're providing students and human beings with skills that they need for, jobs that are in demand or careers that are in demand. But you're also, and it seems like you're doing it the right way. You're talking with employers. Well, what do you need, right? So if they're letting you know what you need, it's almost, you know, seamless, right? You can't guarantee anybody employment, but at the same time, you know exactly what the employers need. You're providing the training so that these people can actually, go to work and they have skills that are actually employable. So it's a great service.
It really is, I think the one piece that I just really appreciate is all of our instructors and our admin team, where we have to validate that placement piece after. And
Yep.
I've gone through higher ed experiences, and it was like, here's your diploma, good luck.
Right.
Um, we have to match employers and students and follow up and ensure that we have at least 70%. We have to exceed 70% in related employment for our graduates. So if a student goes through our medical assisting program, if they go to work down to Wendy's, that's not a graduate.
Right.
That's not a placement. We can't count that. But if they're working as a medical assistant or related healthcare occupation, it does. So for lack of a better word, it forces us to be involved and work hand in
Yep.
glove with our business partners so that those students are finding employment. Because face it, that's what it's all about. We ultimately want them to find employment. And we've done some other things for the completion piece because that can be a challenge too. We need employees right now. We've got a student that's 30 days or 60 days into their program. We ultimately we want them to get a job, but if they leave at that point, that's a non-completion for us. Well, we have to
Right.
exceed 70% completion, and so there again, we've worked with our business partners. One of the great auto business partners that we have, they come down here every other Friday. Um, and when they come down, they interview students, they hire students. But here's one of the key things that they do that helps us. And here's part of that business relationship. They give them a sign-on bonus when they're hired. They pay for their tuition. They give them a tool set that's worth over $4,000. The only caveats with that, they get to keep the tool set if they complete their ASE certification program at MTech. So this helps us with the completers there at the other end. We've done it with Texas Instrument. We've done it with our healthcare partners. We've done it across the board. And it's been one of those key things that there again, we're not trying to steal employees from your place of business to come and teach for us. We don't want to hire them away because we want you hiring our graduates.
Right.
But you can help us validate our program and ensure that we're training to meet your needs, not for just one specific business, but across the board for a whole cadre of businesses that are there.
Absolutely. So how, I'm gonna ask the question the best way I can, but I'm intrigued. How do you kind of marry the accountability for completion, placement, and licensure with, a parent or just even a student, depending on age, just trying to say, what's our return on investment?
That's a good point. We track, mentioned, the number of students that we have, but
Yep.
last year we had over 500 students on a waiting list to get into our
Wow.
programs. Breaks our heart to turn anybody away.
Right.
This year we have over 1,500, so it's tripled in 1 year. Now, educators would say, and it's a good problem to have, but there needs to be a solution for that problem. And so the message that we have shared and that we share with our graduates, we don't go out and recruit. Obviously, we have people waiting in the wings. We have students that have cared enough to put their name and their contact information and say, notify us when there's a position open. But
Absolutely.
for example, one of the areas we've got over 200 individuals waiting to come and start their electrical apprenticeship program. We've been able to go through and identify across the board on each of these areas what the economic impact is by a graduate, and it varies by occupational area. But in essence, and we do this on the conservative side as well. We use DWS, so we use workforce services data. We use about 20 different software programs that help us with modeling and look at the economic impact that that graduate would have if we were able to put them into the program. Well, with this, the missed opportunity cost for the state of Utah right now, with those 150 or with those 1,500 students that are on a waiting list is over $110 million if they were out in the workforce. So that provides us with some of the data to help students understand, hey, here's what I can expect. And we do it on the conservative side too. You know, there's a range, for example, of starting wage for those electrical apprentices of anywhere from about 55,000 on up to over 200,000.
Wow.
Um, and so we use the lower end of the scale. We would rather um, under promise and over deliver and not get someone's hopes up too high. And we do not guarantee that you will find employment, but we can guarantee that this is the needs out in business and industry, that we have these people waiting in the wings to take these programs. This is the type of income that you can expect, and you're in demand right now.
Right.
So that's how we've been able to mitigate that and give them an idea of what they can anticipate and what the job availability is. But it's also by making that industry certification so invaluable. And mentioned that ASE and NATEF endorsement, by having those credentials, that's viewed all over the world.
Sure.
Very much across the United States and certainly within their own community. We have people begging for employees. And we're a regional training site for Ford Motors out of Dearborn, Michigan. Train a
Wow.
lot of automotive techs every year, but we don't just train for Ford. We're also a Nissan training site and a Chrysler training site and a Dodge, and the list goes on because they want to prepare a well-rounded individual. And we're serving, even though we have industry sponsors in our labs. If you walk into our automotive lab, you're going to see Larry H. and Gail Miller. And they were the sponsor and host, and they sponsor our automotive lab. But we don't just train for them. And the employers are great that way too, because they don't expect us to just train for them. They want to give back to the industry. They made comments, for example, we don't want to just trade employees back and forth for 50 cents or $1 or $2 an hour raise and have them jumping back and forth and back and forth. We need to meet that unmet demand.
Absolutely. So we'll follow up on that one. What do you think is most, challenging from your perspective? Is it meeting the demands of the students and parents, or is it meeting the demands of business and industry?
Right now, I think it's meeting the demands of business and industry, just because we don't have the capacity to take all these students in. Let me
Wow.
clarify that a little bit because of the
Yep.
waiting list piece. In the technical college system, I mentioned to you the two charges that the legislature had given us for the adults at low tuition and the high school students at no tuition. When you do that, we're about 78%, or yes, we're about 78% adults and about 22% secondary students. But when a
Okay.
student comes from us, we have some requirements with the school district that we coordinate. But when they come over here, they're an MTech student. They're not a high school student. They're not an adult. Everybody is in the same class, the same learning environment, the same competencies. They're treated all exactly the same.
Sure.
But um, some of the challenges uh, that we have from an administrative perspective is that tuition. We can't go out and hire someone. We can't hire an FTE based off of our tuition generation. There again, that's kudos to the legislature
Right.
for the financial support that they provide. So that's why we have these waiting lists. They've been great to support us with capital facilities. We're opening. In fact, we have a new campus, branch campus down in Payson, south end of our region that we're opening. We have another campus under construction up in Heber City that will open about a year from now. It's about another 94,000 square feet that will handle more students up there. And to give you a little bit of an idea on the partnership with the community, this Payson campus that we're opening, we had 14 acres donated to us by the community in the city because they wanted us there to train
Right.
train their
Wow.
workforce. Up in Heber City, we're located right adjacent to a new high school that's being constructed, and the school district donated 2.5 acres to us for that project because they wanted us there. But that still doesn't allow us to be able to hire someone on ongoing appropriations to teach that class. And so that's where we run into that bugaboo. And so to go back a little bit to your original question, I think that's part of our challenge with business and industry is because there's a demand for our students out there. We're placing them. Our placement rate is right around 86%. And
Nice.
so they're finding jobs.
Yep.
They're in demand. There's just a bit of a catch-22 there. And so that's why we're not able to address that. But I know that's a long answer to your short question, Kamar, but that's kind of the challenge that we face in our region.
Absolutely. So what keeps you going? Like what keeps you, so I mean, you don't seem like you're missing a beat, you know? Yeah, what keeps you're so engaged?
Um, well, you're kind, but I probably am missing a beat, especially from when I first started. I am passionate about what we do. It We have, when I started here, we had about 1,200 students, then about 70 employees. We're now up to 6,500 students. We have almost 600 employees now. We own zero square footage. We now have five, soon to be six campuses. And please, I'm not insinuating that I had much, if anything, to do with that. We have a great team of people here that are passionate about helping others. And that's what keeps me going. I enjoy coming to work every day. I look forward to the people that I work with. I look forward to the students. Mentioned to you, I worked in public education. We don't have problems. We just were talking about this yesterday. Our main campus up here we built in 2011 is when we opened. And you can walk inside this building. We have never had graffiti. We've never had any damage to the stalls in the restrooms. We have never had
Nice.
any property damage. Students are here because they want to be here, and they view that's a privilege because they have to work to get their credits in line uh, through their junior year in high school, so that their senior year they have sufficient time to come over and take our programs. And so um, I think this is proof of concept for what's taking place, and we've attracted a lot of people that like helping others. That's what keeps me coming every day to see the progress that has been made from when I started it was often referred to as practical arts, then vocational education,
Right.
applied technology education, career and technical education, and these technical colleges and the partnerships with our secondary partners on through our degree granting institution partners. That's what keeps me coming every day.
Absolutely. One last question. What is it that you would like to see technical education look like or evolve to in the next, usually in the past we'd say 5 to 10 years with AI and the pace of everything. I would say 2 to 3 years now.
Um, Great question. As I look at this and have watched education and what's happened across the country, there tends to be a desire at times to transition technical colleges to community colleges.
Ah,
And we get that posed to us on a regular basis. That's not what we're about. That's not what we want to do. We feel like we know our space, we know it well, and we work cooperatively. It has come light years. This isn't a competition as to who has the most students or do we retain a student here. When that's why I mentioned to you that we don't recruit. If a student shows up on into our counselors and the best spot for them is at UVU or University of Utah or
yep.
whatever the case might be, that's where we send them to try to do that. One of the things I hadn't mentioned here in our region, and this kind of addresses a couple of questions that you asked previously. What keeps me going? We have a real strong K-16 alliance in our region. We work together with the school districts. We work together with the universities. We work with the communities so that we're wisely using the taxpayers' dollars We have done that on these new campuses that we build. We have templates. We don't build large gathering places. We don't put offices in classrooms or laboratories. It forces our instructors to spend time with the students, which is what they should be doing. They have an office, but they're not adjacent to where their teaching area is. They have places to counsel with students, to have private conversations with students, but it's not where the labs of the training takes place. So I, my hope and desire, as I'm kind of in fact, quite a bit in the twilight of my career, that
Sure.
technical colleges and technical career and technical education in the state of Utah, that they continue to develop seamless opportunities so that we give credit. They don't have to duplicate what was done in high school. They can come to us instead of starting at point A, they can start at point G or H or wherever
Yeah.
their skill set takes them. When they finish with us, that these pathways that they can be expanded upon, and that we continue to provide students opportunities, open doors, on-ramps, and the chance for them to structure their career path in the way that they see fit while still training and educating the whole individual that's beneficial to the community.
Absolutely. Clay, I can't think of a better place to end it than right there. This has been great. You're phenomenal. Let our audience know, how they can find you, where they can reach you, LinkedIn, Facebook, all Instagram. Do you have a novel coming out soon?
You're kind. Our URL is www.mtec. This can be a bit confusing. There is no H on the end of it, even though our acronym has an H.
Sure.
So mtec.edu. We're active because I've had to try to catch up with this technological age.
Yep.
We have a great comms team that helped me with that, but we're active and involved on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, and yeah, you can access what's happening at the college, and we have a great comms team that is always focusing and sending information out on a regular basis about what's happening at Mountain Technical College. So, Kamar, it's been my pleasure to be involved with you here today. I hope you can see that I'm passionate about technical education. I'm passionate about Mountain Technical College, and anything that I can do to help further that effort here in Utah or across the country, that's my passion.